Welcome to the Detroit Guitar Trio podcast. For this episode, we are recapping our trio's performance at the Detroit Artists Market. It's a really cool nonprofit art gallery we were fortunate to perform at. So for this episode, we discussed the character of the venue, the positives and negatives of our performance, lessons learned from the performance, and ways to improve our conducting and communication across our trio. Stick around to the end of the episode where we review a performance by the Classical Guitar Society of Michigan's Youth Ensemble, which is a really cool group led by Scott and Tony. If you or anyone you know would like to sign up, there is information on the Classical Guitar Society of Michigan's website. And now on to the episode. Whoa, unreal, we're back. Reassembled. And we have our experience to report. We performed a gig. So we'll begin this week's episode by doing a little bit of a gig recap. We were fortunate and thankful to perform at the DAM, the Detroit Artists Market. We did our hour set there. But anyways, yeah, we'll just kind of go around the room, start with Tony. What'd you think? How was that experience?
You know, the venue was amazing as far as acoustics. It was lively, but also very clear. It seems like those people that were listening could hear every nuance and every just note crystal clear. So, it's an industrial space with, art all around, hanging on the walls. There's sculptures in the middle. And I don't know, just something about the place just made the guitar just sound full and resonant, and it projected really well. So that's always enjoyable. When a space just sounds good, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel confident. And, that's what I experienced while we were there as far as the space goes. Did you guys experience that as well?
Yeah, it was very lively, very wet, to be specific. The space was interesting. It was fun being surrounded by some pretty cool art that did add to the ambiance quite a bit. But the atmosphere was interesting because it was, half focused, but then there were also people just coming into the art shop, just checking out art, who just kind of happened to walk in and be like, oh, there's a trio playing. So it was some informal stuff, we're in the heat, in the thick of playing, and people are wandering around looking at art. But it wasn't too distracting. It was a cool kind of informal atmosphere. So yeah, I liked this setting quite a bit. Yeah. Thoughts, feelings on this setting, Scott? What you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know that I have much more to add from what you both have said. I mean, my experience is very similar. So yeah.
You want to buy anything?
Some
of that art looked kind of cool.
Actually, Lucy,
I don't
my
have
daughter,
enough money.
did buy
I
something.
can't do it. She did?
Yeah.
Nice. What'd you get?
A little necklace.
Okay, cool.
Nice. There's some neat little pieces there, yeah.
How did you guys feel about us hearing each other? Because that's sometimes been an issue, us being able to hear each other well. Now that I'm reflecting on it, I feel like I could hear everybody just fine, and I felt pretty good about how I could hear everybody. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I felt good about our ability to hear, especially the space that we ordinarily rehearse in is quite dampened, quite dry, not very much room sound at all. So I definitely feel like the room sound helped us be more connected as far as our ability to hear each other. I think that helped out quite a bit.
Yes, Scott and I were angled more towards each other. Did you hear me better, Scott? Or feel good about how you heard me from the opposite side?
I did. I feel, again, very similar about that. There's something I was going to add, but I've lost it.
It's all that we've been through a couple performances, we got that brain fog setting in.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, the levels between us seemed pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't like, so say like we have done some performances in like some big churches, right? Like that one big church. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it wasn't like the sound didn't kind of just travel as far. So.
That's an interesting comparison. I actually felt like the space. I mean, the space we played in, as Tony said, is very industrial. It's not designed with acoustics in mind. It's just a very empty, harsh, reflective room.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually felt more immersed in the sound.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
At the art place, as opposed to the church, which is just beautifully acoustically designed. It felt like the sound was for us as well as hopefully the audience.
Well, it was more intimate. The sound in the church was just traveling so far.
Yeah, so expansive.
Whereas in the art gallery, it was just confined to that space.
Yeah, I found while it was reverberant, it wasn't obnoxiously so.
Yeah.
Where things would sound muddy, though. It just sounded, like I said again, clear and resonant.
Yeah.
But I feel like the last time we played, it was like a cathedral, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like if we played anything too fast, it would just sound like a mumbled mess. So I think yeah, it was for sure. So we're in consensus on that. It sounds.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, I'll bet the space really, that the one that we recently performed in the art gallery, it probably did favor guitar quite a bit. I feel like if it was any instrument with a lot of sustain,
violin.
It could have been obnoxious.
Oh yeah, a violin. It's terrible. Violinists don't play it.
Yeah. So that would have
guitar only gig.
Yeah, our quick decay was actually a good thing that time around. But yeah, the room sound was definitely quite interesting.
Yeah, it was weird how, like you were saying, Ben, though, there's like the audience, the people there listening were, some of them would stop and listen more carefully, but they weren't right in front of us for the most part, too.
Yeah.
But then other people were just kind of walking around, and there's a little bit of chatter, but it was rather quiet when we were playing.
Yeah, there was minimal talking, which was nice. People were mostly respectful.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But the chattering itself is also okay just because of the setting. But yeah, what was that, Tony?
I was gonna say, so going into it, what I imagined this, because like I've never been there before, but what I imagined the space to be and what I imagined our interaction with the audience to be was different than what I experienced. And so what I was imagining was we would be kind of on one side of the room, set up this large room, and there would be several rows of chairs opposing us, facing us. But instead, people did have chairs to sit, but it was kind of like random.
Yeah.
And then there were people standing close to us, and then there were people sitting far away. But a lot of people that were there for us were intentional listeners, and were really focused on the way we played. So the way, it did, because when you envision something for performance and it's slightly different, it does have an effect on the way you play. And I guess we could talk a little bit about our playing. Does that sound okay? Yeah.
We could.
Yeah.
So, reflecting on my playing, one of the things that really stuck out to me was all the hard spots that I've practiced, I managed to nail.
Nice.
But some of the spots that were like exposed that I hadn't practiced, but I've haven't made mistakes on in months, I made little mistakes on, which is a little frustrating. So it's something to know when I'm preparing, I think, for next time, is not only hit those hard parts, but anything that's just exposed, just make sure I'm 100%, not even 100%, because I thought I was. Make sure I'm over prepared for that. It was really, it's a little disheartening when it's like, wow, I haven't made a mistake on that part in months.
Yeah.
Like when we were like first putting these pieces together, and it's like, wow, how did I do that? And I don't know if it's a combination of I think it was a little bit of focus. Maybe the way the space was set up, it a lot, I was a little bit distracted, perhaps. There were times that I was. Um, Also a little nervous because it was, again, different than what I was envisioning, which can play an effect on my nerves, if you're expecting something informal and then it's extraordinarily formal, that's not good. But I was expecting something formal, and perhaps because it was a little less formal, I was less focused, thinking it wasn't that big of a deal. And, I only really focused intensely when I got to those trouble spots. But then when things that like, oh, normally I nail this and I sound great, and I just kind of let my mind go, and that's when things can happen. So I think it's a reminder of to stay focused even when things seem easy or typically have been successful in the past.
Yeah, I feel like where you're going is probably a focus thing, because to some extent, I wonder how much you can even prepare for stuff like that. Because when it's something that's not even on your radar, that you're well prepared for, that you're not making a mistake at, it's just like, if you go to practicing as a solution, it's like, what, do you just obsessively practice every single measure as a practice spot? It's like there's only so much you can do when flukes happen. So maybe it was more focus oriented than making every single thing a practice spot as a solution. But yeah, Scott.
Yeah, I don't know. I can just go next because
Go for it.
I think it's funny that you say that, Tony. I mean, obviously, like the first mistake I made, which I had a little extra, challenge in being the one more responsible for talking.
Double duty.
Yeah, I had a bit of double duty, but I just like in the beginning I wasn't thinking, and I had some notes on the score versus my part for the first piece or for the second piece when I first started talking. And it was so bizarre because we were playing, and of course I've made mistakes on that beginning part before, but it's not as frequent that I like have some big issue.
Yeah.
But I'm playing, and like we're like maybe 5 measures in, maybe 8.
Oh, it took you a sec to realize.
It took me a sec. Well, actually,
Nice.
I was playing, and I was like, why does this look different?
Oh man.
I was like, it was so bizarre because I couldn't figure out what was wrong, but something was different.
Wow, interesting.
And then it dawned on me because I reached the end of the page, and I was like, I don't have to turn a page on this. I was like, what is going on? So, but everything, like so I was kind of like messing up and trying to stabilize, and I just made it through until that moment where we had the kind of fermata part.
We took a very long fermata.
Took a very long fermata, and I just got
how we solved the problem.
But even after that, I was like a little shaky because I was like, gosh, that's not how I want it to be. So, but I think we recovered from there, maybe.
We did. We recovered.
But to kind of go with what Tony was saying, I don't know. I don't know if it was because of the space, like kind of the intimacy, but not quite. It was like half focused, but not focused at the same time. And of course, we have some family or friends that might come, colleagues, students. So it was, it was in part a familiar crowd. So I felt quite comfortable. I mean, I actually didn't feel that nervous. There are moments, maybe when I was more exposed where I felt a little bit nervous, but not that much. And I think sometimes when that happens, I'm prone to like, looking up. And that can just come back at me, like I'm kind of looking up at maybe people, or just kind of like, just not keeping, focused on
Look
the task.
them in the eyes.
Yeah.
Connect with your audience.
Yeah. I mean, not even intentionally, just kind of like, whatever, being too casual about it.
Yeah. Huh.
So I did have a moment like through like more in the second half where I was like, I just have to stay very focused on this, and keep either, watch you guys or look at the music. And I mean, I also had Like it's so unfortunate because early in the week we had a rehearsal, and as you guys know, like I had some issues at my house where like we were basically no sleep the night before, and then I was making a ton of mistakes in the rehearsal, and so that made me quite nervous. But as a result, I was like dead set on practicing those parts.
There you go.
Yeah, so I think overall that was pretty successful, but it gave me some, I don't know, maybe extra focus on those parts, which in turn helped out, I guess. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. It was weird because I made a number of mistakes. Like it wouldn't be, it's weird. It wouldn't be, I don't think it would be, what's the word? I don't think it'd be healthy to count them even, and I think that's just going to be how it goes to a degree, I mean, the mistakes like the score, like in the future, I'm just going to like how we've made mistakes here. It's like, just double check. Like I'm not even going to bring the score next time, just so that doesn't happen. Just kind of do things like that. But
yeah.
But I don't know. It's like, I'm not really sure what to think of the mistakes we made, or I made, I won't speak to any other people's mistakes, but just mine. And I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tony.
I think I think a lot of it. I think it was actually really helpful in a lot of ways, making those mistakes in a performance like this. Because one thing I think that we did really well on was recovering really, really well.
We recovered like champs.
Nothing fell apart ever. Nothing really came close to falling apart. So I think,
we got on the edge.
Yeah, but that's fine. Yeah, here or there, but that's
here or there.
But you know what?
Only two of those.
Yeah, it's
where we got
so
to measure apart.
It's still so small.
Where we got out of phase.
Yeah,
but we got back into phase.
I mean, but that's the beauty of our repertoire. It fits.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it is very programmatic and very laid out, and it's like there's quite a bit of interesting harmonies, and it's like it's okay.
It fits. It does indeed.
So I think from learning, just walking away with it was like, hey, we can make some big boo-boos ourselves, but still recover in a very clean and non-obvious way.
Oh yeah.
So when we play things that are more higher stakes, it's like, hey, we've practiced making a ton of mistakes and kind of recovering from them. So I think if there was a place to do it, this was a good time to do it.
That's true.
And the listeners that were there still didn't notice.
No. Yeah. We took some surveys as well. We asked them for some brutal honesty.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too noticeable. Yeah. I think a lot of the stuff we made will get smoothed out just the more that we perform, honestly.
Yeah.
I think the more we're comfortable performing in front of people, just a lot of the little really bizarre stuff, like where on earth did that come from? I think it'll just slowly start to fade out. So I don't think it's anything to get too obsessed over.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because of the environment, because I certainly felt some pressure. There's pressure too when it's like just family and friends, because it's like, I don't know, if you're performing for a bunch of strangers, it's like, well, there aren't, this is how my poor brain thinks about it, there aren't as many social consequences. It's like if you biff it real bad in front of strangers, it's like, well, I don't have any meaningful social connection with them. But, if you bomb it in front of your family, you're like, oh, man, it has the potential to be, and friends, to be more embarrassing.
Well, yeah,
sure.
I definitely sympathize with that, especially when you have students there. Like, I had a student there. Like, I wouldn't want to,
That wouldn't be very fun.
Like, oh, wow. Like, but you know what? Like, today I asked him, because like the weekend before he saw David Russell, and it's like, not, and then you got to come to see your teacher play. He didn't have to. He was motivated to come and see us and support us.
Which was very nice of him.
Very nice, and I asked him, did we seem very professional and put together? Like, and he thought so. And I think that's an important takeaway that we, even with those, like, okay, I had the wrong page or, whatever, it still came off professional. And I think that's a good thing moving forward. And then all we have to do is just refine little things from here and there. So I think we've got something good.
Yeah.
Some redeeming things. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, one of the things I thought was one of the better things I thought we did was that we tried to be exciting. We kind of came up against the edge a number of times, and I think that's a quality of our playing.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I definitely felt excited.
Yeah, there were definitely times.
Very
I think
excited.
Tempos were pushed, and it paid off, and that we were able to maintain the integrity of the music at those tempos.
I hung in there.
Historically, we have, it can be, in rehearsal, it can be tricky, but not somehow, but we pushed it in a way that was still maintainable.
Yeah, well, actually, I was thinking not just in the tempos. I know sometimes the tempos went a little hot, but it was more so like just some of the phrasing and like dynamic levels that we're attempting to reach in some of the climactic points. I thought we went for it, and I thought it was exciting. I think that it was in part because it's we sounded good in the room. I mean, even in other rooms, but that we had that little boost. So
yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
We tried to be engaging. I think
so.
Yeah, I do too.
So. We did create for the boo-boos that were here and there. I think we did create some very nice moments.
Yeah,
which were exciting, dynamically. Pulling our strings off. Heck yeah, rock and roll. But yeah.
Yeah, there were definitely some moments where I was like, "Man, I sound great right now," and that was great. I was like, "Yeah,
that's good."
So I mean, that's like rhythmically, like we sounded great at times. Like it was just like, wow, we were really tight. Some of the stuff was played, like some of the rhythmically complex things that needed to line up or rhythmically expose things. Like we nailed those.
Yeah.
The rhythmic stuff, I feel like where we needed to align. Those were, I think, as just if we were to count them, we were the most successful out of any rehearsal we've ever had.
Yeah.
And we were the most together that maybe we've ever been.
Do you have some examples of that? I'm curious.
Like in Zambra, at the beginning of that, like we were extraordinarily tight. In Alice, our even though you were reading from the score, at least the first several measures, like those rhythms were extraordinarily tight. So things like that. So just points where we just needed to line up, like key points rhythmically. I felt like, was it in the Dance of Seduction where Ben and I have those like chimey things, but after you play some melodies, like me and Ben we were really clean on it. There was like no buzzing. Rhythmically we were tight. Dynamically it was right. And so
that was too. Our tones blended quite well.
That was the best me and Ben ever played those supporting roles.
Nice
in that movement.
Yeah, it's interesting how we observed that little flukes that never happened before can happen in performance. But then there was also that potential, which I think we realized, to use that performance setting to play some parts, as you said, better than we'd ever played in rehearsal. So, the energy was with us and, against us at times, but I think we used it quite well. In a lot of places to play accurately with good rhythms and with good energy. So we were definitely able to channel it. We were successful at quite a few times.
Yeah.
to channel that energy. But yeah.
So Tony, you said you felt you had a little nerves. I had little nerves as well. But not overly so. How about you, Ben? Did you have any?
I was nerved up. It was a real thing, in my opinion. I think any time. I mean, it was an event. You're getting paid a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Family and friends were there. People were there. It was official. People were listening closely, you know. To me, it was the real deal. Mm-hmm. It had all of the different components to make it as such. So I was quite nervous, but, you know, I'll be open about it. You know, I'm nervous, and, you know, I take a beta blocker to help out a little bit. So, because, you know, someone could find help, although they're quite well known about in the musical community. But it basically does nothing for your anxiety, but it relieves the physical symptoms a little bit. So it gives you just a little bit of a boost. So I had that going on, so that made me feel more comfortable. And I had that little extra bit of security. So I was quite nervous, but pretty early on I knew I'd be fine. Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, it's there. I can feel it. Interestingly, I had a lot of peaks and valleys with this one, because I think I had challenging material all the way up until the end. So I think with the performance we did at Steinway, it was like the intro was hard, and then I'm like, after the first mood, I'm like, it's fine, I've got it. Whereas this was like kind of a slow burn throughout. So I don't think I never had the experience of like evening out and being totally comfortable. I kind of was like a sine wave the whole time.
Oh, okay.
I would have peaks and troughs of like, hanging on for dear life, and that's like, okay, I made it past that section, and I can calm down a bit. So
interesting.
That was my experience, but definitely now felt amped up, felt like the real deal. That's for sure.
Nice.
So that was my experience. But no, I felt good about my playing. A lot of the runs, I think, were there. Some were a little behind. When Scott would come in like a freaking demon with his insane heavy metal tempos, but but it's all right. It was exciting. You played quite well too. Some of those spots where you can. I mean, Tony was saying that, you know, some stuff was hot, but, you know, it was successful when you came in hot. Heck yeah. Rock and roll. But other than that, I was very happy with my playing. I felt like I was solid, reliable, you know. So I think it was overall successful.
Yeah, I guess I was just curious. I mean, I didn't notice anything between either of you, like, oh, Tony's nervous or Ben is nervous. I didn't notice anything like that. Yeah. You guys, you seemed like, you know, it was
composed.
You were right there and reliable, you know. I mean, you know, like, I guess even, you know, like early on, any type of blip and the recoveries that we had from those, you know, made me feel quite relaxed.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about, it was interesting though. So how did, because like getting to specifics of the repertoire, like how did it feel to have the part change on the glass piece and to kind of settle in with that? I'm just curious because I remember playing that part and actually feeling a little more like, you know, it's like there's a lot of pressure. It's like being the percussionist where you're like, symphony at that right moment, like you're resting for like a measure, then like boom, you know.
Yeah.
How did that feel? And like, what did you guys think of that first one opening? Obviously, we had to find our rhythm, and I feel like we had moments where we were struggling to find that. I don't know, but
yeah. Thoughts, Tony? You have any input on that?
Well, no. My thought. Yes. What? My thoughts. My experience. Yes. Let me be helpful here. My experience was, once we settled in, we locked in. I think there was, you know, some. I think it was just a matter of settling in, like in the space with people listening, settling into our parts, settling into the rhythm. I think really it what it did is it just like woke us up to listen, and that carried over to the rest of our performance, because it really, like, we really was like, hey, what's going on? I can't just go on autopilot here. Like, I really need to listen to everybody, and I need to be like I imagine myself playing my part and just like my eyes closed, and I just don't like. I just want to listen,
Wow,
like
fully present in the music.
Because I gotta play the fastest parts, and like I really want to like phrase it in such a way, like, it takes really intense listening to myself, and like I really want to just like zone out and be like, you guys follow me. That's what I want to do, but I couldn't do that, and I realized that pretty much right away, and like that's why like all of a sudden it was like I mean my part's memorized, and so that's when I was like, okay, eye contact, very active with my body, active with my facial expressions.
Yeah, that was very helpful.
And I think once we did that, or once I did that, I felt better. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think once I got out of like, oh, I'm making beautiful music to like, hey, let's get to work, and then I felt like we synced up, or at least I don't even know if we synced up. We may not have, but it felt better, and the energy was better, and I felt better. So I don't know how did you guys feel? Did you guys experience the same thing?
Yeah. So what Scott's referring to a little bit, I have migrated to part 3 for the Glass. So for those who don't know, Opening by Philip Glass, it has a triple part, and then a duple part, and then they're layered on each other, and then I've got the bass notes, which are supposed to arrive on all the downbeats, more or less. So, it very much feels like a percussionist role, where it's like, you have this very simple part, but then it becomes very complex in that I have to account for both of your guys' parts, and then make sure I'm lining up properly on the downbeats. So, beforehand, I did some prep. I played along with our recording. One repetition, I focused only on Tony, who has the triplet part, and then I only focused on you, Scott, and then I kind of focused on the larger picture, just how it sounded. So, doing that prep work ahead of time helped me out a lot. And I found that, I had the resources to go between you both and ensure that everything was lining up on the downbeats. So it's definitely a very difficult piece. I know I recall, Scott, you saying, "Oh, the piece isn't too hard." It's like I disagree, man. It is such a hard piece.
No, I get. Yeah,
not even it's hard, and like I guess what you were saying is it's not very mechanically difficult. Like technically it's not mechanically difficult, but as far as focus and rhythm and alignment and ensemble, it's like such a hard piece to play.
Yeah, well, I mean that's
like,
the thing.
Oh my word.
That's what I was talking about. It's like
yeah.
Individually, our parts are quite simple, but then when you put them together, and
so
also
hard.
extend it out as you do too, it's kind of it's an endurance and like mental kind of focus.
Yeah.
And I mean, so yeah, but I mean, what you were saying earlier, Tony, too. I do think at least presently, and for maybe in the near term, like having somebody who's kind of directly pulsing out, the downbeat and beat 1 and 3 is quite helpful. So when you started to do that more, in a more engaged way, I felt like
it helped out.
Yeah.
Interestingly, my family was there. They can be pretty brutally honest about how they feel about things, but they really liked the Glass. Right. I think the Glass sounded great in the space too. Yeah, 'cause it's kind of this, it's minimalism, so it's supposed to kind of have this expansive, awe-inspiring feel. So I think it sounded real, especially the space being more industrial and artsy. I think the Glass was a really nice fit for the space, and so I think our Glass was successful. It was enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean it's 5 minutes of triplets, eighth notes continuously.
Yep.
For me.
And I mean, Tony's part's athletically exhausting.
It's
I would have even
5 minutes. Yeah, triplets at like 110, 115, something like that. It's a lot of
hard piece.
It's a long It's like exercise.
It
An
is.
etude.
Yeah, it's challenging, but yeah, yeah.
And the melody changes from like which finger, and yeah.
Yeah,
I want
there's a
to
lot
try
of
something in the future with my thumb, but my thumbnail is still recovering. I want to try something different another time, but
yeah. Yeah, I think
concert
there's a lot
performance.
of
Just edit that out, Ben. Sorry.
I'll mute Tony. Here, go ahead, Ben.
I missed it.
I'm done. Go ahead.
I missed the meme. Oh, I see the meme. Now we're keeping it in. That's funny, man. That's content right there. Yeah, I think there's a lot going on with really subtle lines in the glass. I think we can milk even more out of it. Because I really felt like I think the main melody, the main melodic line is in the triplets. But there's like some kind of overarching line, I think, in the duple eighth notes. Then there's some kind of a line in the bass notes as well. So for a minimalist piece, it's not minimalist at all, which is, I think, why people liked it. Because there's really so much going on. Some early minimalist pieces, I can't remember the specific composers, but it's like a perfect fifth for like 50 years. It's just like, oh my word, that's exhausting. This is very repetitive, but there's a lot there to pick out and listen to. So it's a rewarding minimalist piece. Glass has some nice tastes, I will say. I guess hot take, Glass is pretty cool. But anyways, yeah, cool.
I guess I was thinking, like, how would we then, do you guys think, use a performance like this, or any performance for that matter, as kind of like something to learn from, like, more directly? Like, how could we use this for future? Like, I know personally, like I've already stated, and I think you stated some stuff too, Tony, about preparing maybe the whole piece individually instead of, like, just the hard parts or something. But like, certainly with presenting the music and doing a lot of talking, obviously, like, the obvious mistake I made at the beginning, stuff like that is easy to learn from. Do you guys have any, like,
Yeah, I mean,
takeaways there?
so my practice was even this week leading up to it, I did full run throughs with our recordings,
Sure.
and I didn't make those mistakes. So those were like really strange, because like what I would practice was the difficult parts that like I knew were difficult for me. And so even in my run throughs over the past 2 weeks, like I didn't make those mistakes. So it was just really strange to have those creep in. Yeah, moving forward, something to discuss. We can discuss it here live on the podcast. Is possibly in the future. I mean, I think some of this gig was partially filling up some time, and so Scott did prepare quite a bit of talking. But in the future, it's possible to share that load.
Sure.
And maybe we should consider that.
Yeah.
I'm fine doing that if you're not ready.
I'm comfortable talking, but when it's talking in combination with playing, it's like, oh Lord,
I do think,
focus up.
Yeah, I do think it. Sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
Well, that was the gist of my point.
Okay.
It's like, if it was separate, I would be totally fine. But honestly, I think I'd have to get a couple more under my belt and then be like, okay, I could probably talk, and then take a few seconds and then perform. But yeah, go ahead, Scott.
I don't mind. I don't mind doing it myself, but I do think it's not representative of who we are. We're a trio of equal parts, and I feel like when one person's doing the talking role, it seems like, it doesn't, not that I'm sharing a personality when I'm talking, but I feel like, the guitar is intimate, and if you're talking, then, you're inevitably sharing part of, what you think.
Mm-hmm.
I think expressing, talking during those, I think, I don't know. I feel like our personality as a trio would come out more if we were sharing the discussion a bit more,
Yeah, I'm definitely down to do that in
something.
the future.
Yeah, something we should consider for sure. Another thing that was a little awkward in the space due to the setup, not the space, but the the way we presented it, especially since a lot of the stuff in the first half is programmatic with a lot of fermatas,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of holds and pauses. It was unclear for when we were done with the movement, and Scott was like, "Yeah, so that's that."
Yeah, that did happen a couple times.
And I was like,
yeah, good point.
Oh, okay, that's a little like, okay, like I guess I could see it for this performance, but like, what would we do? Like maybe it's a clear indication that we need to make it very clear that we're done with a movement when we are done with it, and even in a very formal setting.
Yeah, well, I think say like talking about the Alice
in Wonderland. Yeah.
I mean, I think typically, like, even though there's some talking because of the program notes,
Mm-hmm.
I think for one, we could in the future, depending on the performance venue, we could have a program, an actual piece that would have that information in it.
Mm-hmm.
So we could refer to the notes there, and I wouldn't have to recite each part.
Mm-hmm.
That's an option, or it could just be where we end, and then I recite, the title, because I don't, people necessarily wouldn't clap because there's not clapping typically between movements. We were just kind of being more informal,
which is true. And then the thing that is, it's always hard, right? Because you never know what the audience is going to do. They're going to do what they want to do.
Of course.
Clapping between movements or not.
Yeah.
And if you're playing something like, a symphony, it's very clear. The
conductor doesn't turn around.
Yes. And it's only a few movements. It's a very concise, and usually like there's just, it's like just the way the pieces are, it comes like, when is this movement done? As a listener, and that's all. I'm just wondering if there's, we just make it more. We do something physically, just like we do stop our strings when it's the end, but then maybe just we all relax our posture, or just something like that. Like, hey, we're not in serious mode. We're just like, we stopped our strings and we're done, and maybe just giving it some time, because I feel like even before, almost immediately we stopped our strings. You're like, and that's that.
Yeah.
But just like, just giving it maybe some more space before you start talking.
Yeah.
Because that would be enough. Because then it gives people the option. If they clap, that's fine. If they don't clap, that's fine. You've given the movement space, and then you can say, oh, and then we're going to start. Okay. And then the fourth movement is this, instead, because it's clear we're done.
Yeah.
Just something to think about how we present that. It could be physically, it could be verbally, but just maybe more space.
Yeah, I wonder how our energy was between fermatas. That's a very good question. I'm not aware of it. Because for so many of the fermatas, I'm like frantically resetting or page turning or doing stuff. So it's like I don't know. That's a very good question. I wonder if we could channel that fermata energy more.
Well, that's a question for you. Could you be more organized so that you're not frantically flipping pages?
I gotta get very fast and do things.
I mean, is it an organization thing?
I don't think so. I think it's a physical, because I've practiced all the transitions, which is why I think my transitions were successful. For example, when I get to be the clock and I pull my strings over each other and do the snare.
Yeah.
I hit a fermata at the end of that, but I have to undo the strings, let them go to neutral, and then hold the position quite quickly, and then make eye contact with Scott, and then get the intro. So there's I could have that held fermata energy, but then I have to do a bunch of stuff.
It's kind of interesting. It might be something that we would look into in some detail during a rehearsal, but having certain moments that are kind of like stacked against you like that, like maybe you tape a page where like you can just have a 3-page spread at that moment, so you're not having that happen.
Yeah, I mean, is it not a good idea to use a fermata for a page turn? I feel like the score is set up like that with that in mind,
I do
where it's
too.
like, hey, here's a fermata, and you can also turn your page on the fermata.
Yeah, but
Does that ruin the fermata?
I don't know.
Soiling the fermata with a page
You know what though?
turn.
As far as it's a good question about energy, but perhaps like while you are moving to set up, I can think of a couple fermatas in particular where I'm like I'm using an iPad, but I'm getting ready for the next notes, and I'm still maintaining that energy of, hey, we're still going to be playing. You know what I mean? So I think at times each of us are kind of. I know I am at times. I don't know if you guys are, but I would assume that also happens true. But there are times during fermatas where I'm already ready for what's coming next, and I'm showing that energy of, hey, there is more to come. So it's possible that burden doesn't have to fall on you, especially there. I'm getting ready for that eighth note ascending passage where you're going to start it, but I'm ready and I'm looking at you, giving you time to set up. I'm maintaining that energy there.
There we go.
You see? So I don't know. Are you maintaining energy there too, Scott? I don't know what you do there.
How's energy, Scott?
Ben, you were saying, I don't know. I haven't really thought about this too carefully, but it does seem like they don't always line up. So when you have a spot, maybe I don't, and when I do, you don't. And I feel like we're kind of conscious of that, and I feel so long as we're like Tony was saying, like kind of keeping in that mind frame. Like you're doing the clock thing, so I'm basically ready to go.
Yeah, it takes me a while to be a clock.
Yeah, and that's fine. Of course, that's how it goes. But I'm ready to go, so I have that kind of like. But again, I'm sensitive to the fact that you're doing a million things, and then we're going into this kind of fast part, after that. So I wait for you to be comfortable and then begin, or at least I try to. So
you did. Okay. I thought that was successful.
Yeah, I think next time we perform, we should record video for ourselves. Because I think just for us to review and look at perhaps those kinds of things. What does it look like with our page turns? What does our bow look like? What does it look like, those kinds of things. Just the polish, the performance aspect, not even what we play, but like, what do we look like up there? And what
afraid
feels good. But we'll get better by doing it. Reviewing the game tape kind of thing.
Gotta drink the bitter medicine of video and audio recorded review.
So that's one thing we could take away, and I think we should have a video. I mean, it would be nice to have it anyway. But any other takes on?
Well, personally, I was satisfied with a lot of new ideas that I've been trying out, putting them under some serious stress in the performance, and I was happy with how a lot of personal things I've switched around came through. So nice. I think after one of I think it was after the Steinway performance, there was like a ton of things that weren't working well that needed to get adjusted a bit. But after this one, it's like, wow, everything worked quite well. And there's little things, but it's just stuff to be incorporated in time. So personally, I was pretty happy with how a lot of ideas I was trying held up. So that's refreshing. Feels like a nice milestone of like I've reached a point of having some solid ideas, and they can continue to be solid. So that was nice. Some things with rest stroke I want to play around with. I'm going to play around a bit more with single impulse rest stroke. See if I can play faster.
I do have to say, Ben, you were technically very solid.
Thank you.
And your tone sounded good. And you also were intense at times, but were still relaxed. You didn't look, I always fear that I look tense. So you can tell me if I did or not. But you did not look tense. even though, and so music flowed from you, and there was movement in your body. You were not rigid.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nice.
And I mentioned that today. We had a Guitar Society meeting today, and you played. And I noticed that today as well. You were just very natural,
the energy,
looking.
man.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Nice.
Your tone sounds.
My tone's back.
It's better. It's back. It's better.
Yeah.
So it's good to see. It's good to hear. It's good to see. Good to hear.
Yeah, I was thankful for how things went.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
that's some stuff for sure that I was happy with as far as a takeaway. Personal things. For group stuff, I think the biggest thing is just having that group success under our belt, and then knowing that, the next step is just doing it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, the takeaway. The takeaway is that a lot of stuff I think will just improve with repetitions of performance. Yeah.
What about you, Scott?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like most of it has been said. I don't know. It's weird because I would want to have more reflection on that. On like, okay, this went reasonably well.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously there are things to learn and develop from it. And to be more like descriptive of those, and how we're going to develop from that. I don't know. I mean, like I know Ben's been speaking to some personal stuff. Obviously, I had moments where I made, like I've already said, a number of mistakes and got choked up a little bit here or there. But I don't know. A big goal of mine is to enjoy, the moments when we're playing. Like, I mean, like I was telling Lisa, my wife, just like name dropping my family.
You doxed your family.
Yeah. But, whatever. It's like, I feel like in the past I've been nervous about performances to the degree that, like, it would kind of ruin my day. Like the day before, even, where it's like, I couldn't really focus, and even practice was kind of messed up.
Yeah.
But I haven't felt that way in a while, and I guess, but at the same time, it still is. It's a lot of work, Like even the hour-ish we played, it was like even though I wasn't as focused, like the times when I was kind of focused, I mean, I still got done and felt a little, quite tired from.
Oh, it's very draining. Yeah.
So it's like, and I think that's a good thing because, then you're putting effort into it and sharing, putting it all out there, doing the best you can. But for me, that intense focus is fine, but just focusing on enjoying it. And I feel like, it's reasonably successful at that. Like I don't want, if we're going to be doing this more and more, I need to be able to enjoy it. And I did that at Steinway too. I tried to just, it is what it is. We've put in the preparation at this point and we're going to enjoy the performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, so that's one thing that I've been focusing on and I think was successful there as well. Because I enjoyed playing, and like I said, at some moments I kind of went for certain things and, I mean, you guys, you guys both have beautiful tone and solid, just consistent, solid playing. And so, I mean, I don't know. It's just like getting up there and just playing the music that we prepared and trying to, to do the best to enjoy it. That's kind of where my heart is.
Yeah, our most recent performances have been like a half concert. This was
it's our first big show.
Well,
we did our hour.
First time we're preparing our presenting our first hour, our full hour. And so one of the things that I walked away from, because I know you're asking me, like, how did it go? And I'm like, I don't even know. Because normally when we play something, even a half concert, like I'm able to keep track of, oh, this happened, and this happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know what happened as far as like what exactly went bad. Like I wasn't, and so what that tells me is while I was playing, I didn't dwell on what happened and go into rehearsal or teacher mode. I just went into performance mode, and I think that's a good thing. Honestly, I feel good about that, and just like, hey, whatever happened because we recovered well, and I feel like moving forward, it's not even anything technical. It's just like little things like, oh, just let's make sure whatever, like, how am I sitting? Am I maintaining energy? While we have fermatas, it has nothing to do with our playing. You know what I mean? That just has to do with the presentation. So that I think that's, for me, that's like a good sign. We're not even talking about like, oh, this measure here and this note here. No, it's none of that. I mean, because every little mistake that we made was mostly just human. It wasn't like, hey, you've always missed that at rehearsal. None of that happened. At least I don't think. At least I don't think, because I wasn't.
All bizarre stuff.
Yeah, for me it was. I wasn't. As far as like, I'm not there to judge you guys, so I'm not like, oh, you missed that. Like I didn't even think about it, and that's what I'm saying. It was like, why am I going to get? Oh, like, oh, they always mess up. No, none of that was like, oh, they always miss that. That never happened in my mind. It was like, all right, let's keep going. And in a way.
I was successful at fixing that scale in the Zambra, so
yes.
The scale came through nice.
You know what though? It's interesting though too, because I agree. Like, I mean, I have a small pocket of spots, like obviously playing from the score that I messed up, and then just a few others. But yeah, I made a ton more mistakes, I know, but at the same time, I can't recall them. So it was like, and that's. Like I said, that's kind of the scary part of like having a recording, is like, I know that would be good to have as a recording, so that we could look back and have a more objective judgment of our playing. But it's a bit scary, because I would just want to walk away saying that went pretty well.
Yeah.
So
I remember.
I have to balance that.
I remember almost everything.
Oh no,
that's not. I don't know if that's healthy.
Well, I think it is.
Yeah, you think so?
One thing I've really been working on is absorbing the full sensory experience of being in front of people. So a little bit of my focus while we were playing from time to time was specifically directed, nice mic bump there, specifically directed towards the energy of the audience. Like not even on my playing, like just feeling their presence.
Yeah.
So I've been getting, because of that practice, I've been getting more and more aware, because it's I'm coming to realize through experience that when you perform for people, it's like kind of a unifying activity. It's not just the soloist playing. You're like joining together in a pretty one-sided conversation, but it's still a conversation with people. So I've just become more aware. So, I remember all kinds of stuff.
Ben has become so aware he no longer is the performer, but the audience.
Exactly.
And performer.
The audience.
All at once.
I can disassociate. It's totally healthy. But I remember one of my favorite mistakes that I made. It was right at the end of the ritual from the 5 dances. Scott did his final little statement, and then it's like a crescendo, and then Tony and I are supposed to go boom on like the second beat of the measure, and I forgot to double check the score, because I'd gotten so good at the part that I'd done it by feeling, because it's a really weird syncopated rhythm, and there's like triplets and duplets in there.
Yeah.
And then but then I forgot to double check it, because then I did it by memory, then forgot how to do it, and then forgot to check it. So you guys were just there hanging in suspense for a couple minutes, and then Tony just quietly goes, boom. And then we recovered and played through to the end. But you guys were just looking at me like, is he going to play? Because normally I confidently lead that part. And you guys are like, he's not doing anything. He's just sitting there.
It wasn't a couple of minutes, Ben. It was like a half. It was like a beat, maybe.
It felt like a couple minutes.
It felt like a couple hours.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, it's funny. Obviously, when you say that, now I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember that.
I remember that.
Like,
I totally forgot about that.
You guys
Are you guys going to play your note before I finish?
Yep. It was pretty great. But I played my D sharp at the end instead of a D natural, so
Beautiful.
I nailed that. But no, I remember it. But I had a similar opinion to Tony's approach, where anytime something came up, it's just like, that's totally fine. Just keep plowing ahead. Yeah. It was a time to search. I felt like every time one of us made a mistake, the other two were there to continue supporting and keep us going. So I really felt like we were supporting each other.
Yeah, I felt like everybody knew their part really well and wasn't phased by somebody else blipping something.
Yeah. And that was big.
Like I said, I've done a bunch of practice with the recording, so it allows me to play and really be familiar with your parts even better. So anything that was like a little iffy, I was able to, even on my part, if I got a little messed up, I was like, listen, this is where we're at. That's fine. And then to trust, just to trust.
The trust was there. Yeah. The trust was there. I have one more thing that came to mind as far as where we can improve as a group.
Nice.
I think a big next step is really refining all of our conducting. That was some honest feedback I got from my family, is that they're like, a lot of ends of phrases, you guys weren't quite in alignment. So I think that's a big next step for us, is just continuing to practice our conducting between all three of us and learning to breathe together even better.
Look, can I ask you a question? Because I was very mindful, especially in some of Alice, and I thought, I've been working on it.
Yeah.
On my conducting, because I am taking a conducting class right now. So
Maestro.
Yeah. So do you feel that like it's improved than in the past?
I think so.
Okay. I'm on the right track.
You're on the right track. Okay. You're on the right track.
And I was like really making sure that my preps were of the same speed, not just like hanging out there and then all of a sudden now, but just that my preps, the beats before, which is actually quite tricky in the one movement of Alice, because of just we either play on beat 4 or on beat 5. And of 6.
Oh yeah.
And so I have to make sure I'm prepping on 3 and 4, or prep on 4 and 5.
That's a nerve-wracking spot. We lined that spot up well, I felt.
We did.
I felt that
we did, because I was really conscious of those preps there.
Yeah.
At least go ahead.
No, it's just I'm kind of like replaying the endings. So and it's weird because in Alice, for instance, a lot of the endings just kind of dissipate almost, where it's we're not having a clear boom, so it's kind of this cascading effect. So it's not even like we're conducting an ending, So I guess I'm kind of wondering where those spots are, because that
I know some
piques my interest.
The other thing though, what I was thinking about,
obsessive memory,
Ben and Scott, the other thing I was thinking about, as if there's somebody else in the room.
Sure. Yeah.
We're here, Tony. What is it?
Yamashita's in the room with us.
Oh, my word. He's back.
Oh, gosh.
He's telling us to do better.
So one other thought was that I had in this performance. I mean, we all knew who was ending things or conducting phrases, but one of the things I wanted to do more of, which you got to tell me if it was distracting, is really feeling that with you. So if Ben led it,
that's a good point.
Because if Ben led it, I was still moving. It almost looked like we were co-leading it, probably.
Yeah,
but I mean, I knew Ben was leading it, but I wanted it to be so. If we move together, my logic is we're going to play together. So while Ben was leading it, I was sympathetically moving with him. The question was, is that distracting?
Yeah,
to somebody else?
That's a good question
in the trio.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is weird because actually, as you bring that up, there have been moments in the past where I'm like, who's leading this? Because Ben appears to be leading something, but then you're like, I can hear both of you breathe, and I'm like,
Yeah.
But it's at the same time. So.
Right. That's the idea is if we breathe together and move together, we will play together, which will lead into our next topic.
I guess it just has to be like, it would be a good thing to kind of be more clear about, like,
But we are clear. It's written down.
I know.
And our score, that's the thing is like, it is written down who's leading it. And so if we know clearly who's leading it, and then we just move sympathetically with them, will that not help us be better?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's a question. And that's something I was trying to do. I've been doing recently, and I don't know if that's an issue, or does that feel?
Yeah,
I don't know. Did you guys notice it?
Oh, I noticed it. I noticed
it. Yeah,
was that good or bad?
I've caught myself doing the same thing to you, like in specifically in movement 3, with all of those, tricky rests and eighth notes.
Yes,
I find myself breathing along with you as though I'm leading.
Yes.
And then I feel a little bit guilty and controlling. It's like, it kind of feels like I'm leading it, but we're together. But it's weird. It feeling. It works, but you
feel like you're taking over.
I'm taking control.
But I don't think it was bad. For me, when you were doing that, I felt like we were in sync and connected, and then it felt more cohesive.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about there, and I felt like actually that worked. So I think it's something to explore more in our rehearsal, knowing, hey, Scott's leading this. We're all going to breathe and move together. And therefore, perhaps, like in Zambra, at the beginning of Zambra, I was doing that. Yeah. And that was the most together we've ever played, Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I have had hesitation in the past to be too, to guide too much, as far as like with movement, but that's something I have to work on, is to just kind of be more physical in directing, because I don't know, it's not a comfort area of mine, like, so.
Yeah. I think the only time, Tony, it felt like you were taking over a bit was third movement, the Misterioso. My scale, boom, 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 the whole tone thing at the end. When we got to those notes at the very end, we were breathing together, but I think it still got out of sync. So that was the only time. Yes. Other than that, it feels like
it did seem like we were getting out of sync. So I was trying that at that point. Then yes, I was trying to hold us together. There was that happened.
That was the only time that stuck out, where it felt like it was two leaders at the same time,
and maybe that's why it was confusing.
Heads a bit. Yeah. But all the other times, that was technically mine. Yeah. But all the other times, when we would breathe together, it felt great.
Yeah.
So it's
so there was one time where
time where I saw it being like, ooh, I felt like I did have control of that, and it felt like you got just a little bit ahead. A little bit ahead. So that was the only instance where I felt that it didn't work well.
Actually, yeah. Do you guys have any other points? Because I have kind of a separate point to make.
But no, I think the last thing I would say is a lot of work I've done in choirs is the emphasis is always breathe together, breathe together, breathe together. So I think it's a very valuable thing. I think we should continue to breathe together. Maybe, as Tony said, with the mindset of, I think there's a difference between, because I'm guilty of this, there's some spots where I'm like, I know Tony leads here, but I'm going to do it. Because just like a controlling urge where it's like, it's right here, and it looks like it's along with, but not really. Perhaps if we had the mindset of, trust, and be like, Tony's leading the spot, I'm going to breathe along with him rather than trying to take the reins. Maybe that's like the attitude.
For yourself.
For myself.
For yourself,
for myself.
So when I breathe with you, I'm not mentally thinking I'm trying to take it for you. I'm mentally thinking I'm trying to be sympathetic.
I'm going along with. I'm following.
Yes. And that's what I've been trying to do a little bit more lately. I think last rehearsal, and even the rehearsal before that, and then just I think it happened in performance. Just the energy again was just like, let's sync up. And I don't know. I think there were a lot of things that rhythmically, when like me and Scott have our runs, we have an eighth note on the downbeat, and then we come into these runs. I thought those were pretty well together.
They were clear together. Yeah.
And even in the fifth movement of the dances, like those were good rhythmically. Yeah. Would you agree, Scott? We were really good with that.
I think so.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Man, one little. Oh, did you have something, Scott? I was going to make one last little lingering.
Go ahead.
Although I will say sometimes, you got to make a call. Tony, that's not totally a poor idea to, like, if you feel that the group is falling apart, and you're like, man, I think we could just use a solid breath. That's not a bad call.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the moment, it's like, okay, we agreed that Ben would lead this, but sometimes if things feel like they're falling apart, might not be a bad idea to, step in and be like, hey guys, here's a breath.
I think that's up for anybody. Like
for anyone.
If you personally feel like it's kind of off balance and you need to kind of correct
game day.
I won't blame anybody for doing it.
Yeah. Because I know no matter what it is, we're all coming from a place of trying to help the group.
Yeah.
But that was just the last little point. You were pivoting or had something, Scott?
I don't know. It's kind of small, but I do think we could more cohesively, and I know we have them in the score, but we could more cohesively and more dramatically work on dynamics, I think. I just don't think, like, we could have some moments when we're playing together on parts that could be like, maybe quieter and then louder. We just have to line those up better, I think.
I did have a thought on that. And while we were playing, I think the space had an effect on that. I wasn't able to, like, while I sounded good, like my tone and things, I didn't feel in some areas that I didn't have this. When I had like a lead melody, that I didn't have the space to shape it and phrase it dynamically like I typically do.
Sure.
So I did feel a little bit like that, and that might just be because we were trying to fill the space, and so just overall we were just playing loud overall. So I don't know if that was a sympathy of the, because we don't play out in spaces like that, and maybe we were just trying to compensate for it, or the space was just so inviting we just wanted to play and fill the space. But yes, I think we could definitely try out in performance that subtle, that like really sweet quietness. Because even like where we're supposed to do those rhythmic things really quiet, I felt like they were still kind of loud in the support. You know what I mean? The boom, cha, boom, cha. And I'm like trying to play soft. But I'm like, I can't get any softer and still play this cleanly and well. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that was some of it being the space.
I think it can be harder to have precision sometimes when you're playing quieter. Also, I mean, tone too. It's like, it's a different thing. I guess. On the point you guys were bringing up earlier, though, too, with leading and kind of falling in line with different parts, like, I often feel like, certainly in moments when I'm playing more of a melodic part, I'm actually often not entirely thinking about that. And I'm curious how do you guys feel about that? Like, I know, like, we all share certain parts where it's like, you're playing the clear melody of the piece, and we're kind of more supportive. Like, are you just at that point leading it entirely in that way? Because I feel like that's often the case.
So that, like, in that first movement of the dance, I've got that like nice extended run. And now that I think about, there was something rhythmically that felt weird to me underneath it that maybe threw me off a little bit, but like there was like either like an accented pulse that wasn't supposed to be there, and it made me feel like I was off. But no, I think heavily of making sure that my part lines up. Like I could milk that line all day long.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't want to, because it's meant to be kind of like this like cascading, ascending and descending scale pattern over this rhythm. And so I'm very conscious of what you guys are doing. And definitely if something feels amiss, that'll mess me up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, within reason, but I guess like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird because I feel like the Tarina in those particular instances, those parts sound like quite the exception though, because I kind of mimic what you're doing in a lower register at some point. And I feel the same way. Like I have to be in tune with what you guys are doing in those moments quite a bit. But like in the seduction moment, like when I'm playing that part, maybe it's just because I'm focused on not messing up a lot, you know, and trying to play musical. But I'm not. I'm just kind of playing the melody, and you guys are there supporting it. Yeah. So I wonder if like you do that in Alice and what, the fourth movement. I mean, you do that a couple times in Alice, Tony.
What?
Like where you have the clear melody. Like
yes, yeah. Alice is kind of like my piece.
Yeah.
Apparently, like I have a lot of the melodies.
Yeah.
You know, a lot. You know, in the dance, like I'm secondary even to the melody. I rarely have like a melody. If I do, it's like I get a snippet for a couple measures, but everything else is pretty supportive. But yeah, Alice is quite nerve-wracking for me. I realized that after this performance. I'm like, there's a lot of
you have some
really
exposed parts.
Yeah. But you know, as far as what I played in Alice, I think I played Alice, you know, pretty well tonally.
No, I guess but my question was more so like when you're playing the melody, because you play.
Oh, I'm counting 100%. Like in Alice, Alice is like I count 98% of the time.
Oh wow, okay.
I'm counting. Even when I'm playing the melody, either I'm counting or I'm very conscious of. Okay, really feel this area just in one. And I'm counting, but I'm counting in one, you know, or I'm counting in three, or counting. There's so much counting I'm doing in Alice, just because it's so programmatic, and there's so many times, like, hey, like if I'm counting, I know I'm solid. I know I'm where I'm at in the piece. There's no question about it. I don't know. I maybe wouldn't count so much if I knew you all were counting.
You're counting for all three of us. Thank you, Tony.
I feel a little bit of that maybe in Alice, but that's not. I don't know. That's probably self-imposed, because it's really not fair. I'm not being fair to you guys. I'm just saying that's self-imposed. I feel like
three crosses.
Like I'm doing I am counting a lot, and I do it just as a way to just be confident in my part.
I will totally give it to you as somebody who played somebody who played viola for a long time during school, where I was just, you know, jamming with my friends in the garage. So sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I should count.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A little bit to my experience supporting you guys on runs. I try my best every time to follow what you guys are doing with the runs.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Tony has a run here. Scott has a run here. I'm thinking, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I won't rush my easy baseline. I'll follow you.
Appreciate that, Ben.
So I'm like, okay, and even slow down. Sometimes I can feel, I'm like, okay, I'll slow down just a little bit. So that's my experience. I think it's, you know, and I actually did that a little bit in the first Zombert, where I have some melodic material. I did trust you guys a bit more.
Good.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna, because I practiced it with a metronome, and I'm like, okay, it's not as fast as I thought it was. So I had the confidence to be like, okay, it's about this fast. I'm gonna take my time and trust the boys that the accompaniment will line up with my melody.
What is it? Is it that the second movement of Alice? There was something there, not the second, the third movement, where Scott took more time on on like the solo measure in the beginning. Did you know? Do you get more time?
You're referring to me.
No.
Beginning of the third movement, I took it slow.
No, but then.
Oh no! I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because And it wasn't intentional. It was just it was one of those moments where I was like,
but we were listening and we were on. And that's a great example of where that's a perfect example that comes to mind where Scott took a little bit more liberty and it just happened spontaneously.
Yeah.
And I synced in on it, and I thought you did too, Ben. We both just we locked in on that, and it came out actually very nice, I thought.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, actually it was I was taking like a bit of rubato there or something, like, although I had never done that in the past. I just like I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this here, and then I was like, oh, wait a second. You know, usually I play this much more straight, but yeah, you guys are right there, so it was great.
What spot was it?
Right
in the third movement?
No, it's in the third movement in the beginning, right after we both play together, and I have that moment where I'm playing like G sharp, G, F sharp, F type thing. I'm kind of doing a descending like chromatic scale, just in like 1, 2, 3, da. Yeah.
So the first time, Ben, we play these chords together, or these intervals together, bum 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 bum, and then Scott plays.
Oh,
and then we come back
and forth.
Yes, and then so at that first time where right after we played together, Scott plays his measure. He took some liberties right there, and then we synced up, and it was like
we did perfect. Our response.
It was perfect, and that's good. A great example of us supporting each other. And I think we did that the best we've ever done, better than any rehearsal, where we did take some I think where we did stretch some things out, but we were in sync and very, very tight. So
yeah, I think so.
Actually, this is just we have some work to do on some tempos that will come together the more familiar the music is. But actually, I think some of our tempos are actually not all that bad, even though they might be slower in some cases. But I think often you hear a lot of performers kind of playing through things too fast, and it doesn't become as engaging.
We don't have that problem.
I don't think we have that problem. Yeah. No, but I think a lot of the tempos, like, like I said, I do think we should reconsider how to work around some of the barriers. But I think they actually make some of the music potentially more engaging in some way, and that we should remember that as we're going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that come from a place of we played things too fast? Or we played some things too slow?
No, I just think like, I mean, obviously, like, if we're like, we're playing some movements a little slower than suggested,
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have any problem with that, but just my observation is that potentially it's in some ways maybe more engaging, some of the tempos we've selected. We might want to increase them to a degree, but I think remembering that, I feel like they can be quite engaging at the tempos we've decided on. So
yeah. I mean, I think it's always that fight, right? Of honoring the composer's requests. The pieces we are playing are modern pieces with tempo markings written in, not as like historical suggestions, but as direct intentions by the composers.
Yeah.
There's also a school of thought of, you play whatever speed speaks to you. I play this prelude by Alfonso Montez, and some people just, even he himself just tears through it. Just like so fast. I'm like, wait, there's so much more. There's so much beauty in this piece. Like if you just slow it down just a little bit. And so I like to play it slower, not because I physically can't play it that fast, but because you lose some beautiful sounds by playing it that fast. So, like I feel, some composers, once they write a piece that's out there, it's like, it's not necessarily like, hey, you've got to play my tempo. Like, just go make beautiful music with it. So I think we do that pretty well. Some things I think we take slower just because technically it's demanding, and I think that's fair because we still need to play well regardless of tempo.
Yeah.
So I think that's important because individually, like maybe some of us can play it that fast, but that doesn't mean we can play it that fast well together.
Yeah, totally.
It takes a lot of brain power on that second movement of Alice with those those shifting. Like, I gotta look. Like, that's the only thing that, like, I made one little mistake, but it was like really well recovered for me. But again, it's when you take it at such a fast tempo, I can't look and think fast enough.
Yeah.
And then with the nerves of, hey, this is my tricky part. Like, I need to nail this. Like, it's a little unsettling. Like, if it's a touch slower, I can feel confident about it. And that's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
completely.
I don't know. I think it's helpful to take what we did, that final movement of Alice, slower. And I thought that was very reliably executed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is interesting. Like the Alice has the tempo markings, and it's more of a recent score, and it's a score for 3 guitars. Whereas, if you're doing a transcription, I think the instrument it was composed for originally has to be considered, and that the guitar might be a different tempo, and I think that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the cello suites, sometimes they're played faster even on the guitar than they would be for the cello, just because of how the guitar sounds. And from piano to guitar trio, it's going to have a different sound. I mean, you might be playing the same amount of notes, but there's
the timbre.
Acoustically, there's more going on. Yeah. And so, I think that's something to consider. So,
but yeah, there we go. That's our performance recap. We had our gig, and we also had the following day, still today, a youth ensemble performance. We've mentioned the Guitar Society a few times, which Scott is the president of, and I am honored to be the VP of. So attached to the Guitar Society is the Guitar Society Youth Ensemble, and they performed today. Scott and Tony lead them. So I'll do a quick performance recap on them. Tony, you want to start and kind of speak to how that performance went?
Yeah. So the way our group runs so far, this was our first year of doing this. It's been fantastic experience working with the students, as well as a learning experience on how to do this. And one of the things that we've done for this season was our repertoire has been cumulative. So we've been adding pieces to each recital, and this recital performance was our final performance of the year. And it was great because one of the pieces that we featured was a couple movements from the Vivaldi Mandolin Concerto, Guitar Concerto. And so all 3 of us played accompaniments for the students that were performing it. And that was kind of fun. And I know we were talking about nerves. I was more nervous for this than I was for our performance yesterday as a trio.
Interesting.
And it's interesting because I think, it's like the students put in all this work, and I don't want to mess that up for them. There's that element, as well as an element of, it's not all these accompaniment parts, I'm not practicing on them. Unfortunately, and that's a lesson for me to maybe I need to practice these accompaniment parts just a little bit better, just so I can feel better about it. But I know we had you, Ben, on sitting in, which was a great experience again to play with all 3 of us together and support the students.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
I think some successful things. They also played 2 other pieces that normally Scott and I play on, and we had much less involvement on those. And they really sounded great as a group. They really sound, like a college level ensemble tonally. Their sound is just, it sounds so good. And they play so well together. They're very good at leading and conducting. Our ensemble is small right now. It's our first year. There's 4 students that are in it. And so this allows them to kind of take some ownership, and different students get to lead the start and ends of pieces and starts and ends of phrases. And it's like what we do, and they're doing it. Nobody's up there waving a baton right now. I mean, I hope for this to grow so that we need that. Been practicing my conducting. Be nice to have some experience doing it, but at the same time, it's been wonderful for the students to have to do that themselves. So those were some of I thought they played great. I thought when it came time versus rehearsal versus performance, I thought I played great. So I played great when it mattered.
Nice.
And I think it went better in performance than it did through some of our playthroughs that this morning before we played. I think that they were more solid on tempos and more consistent, which was shocking, but pleasantly shocking. I was like, wow, they really maintained it there. They really didn't speed it up, and that was really good. They knew what they needed to do in performance, and they did it. And I thought that was great. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, giving us a pat on our backs, I'd say that as far as an experience goes, I mean, it's just a great thing for them to be able to do, and I think it's a real kind of it's kind of a bit of I don't know. I don't have the word for it at the moment, but it's just a great thing. It's a great experience for them, and I hope more people find out about it, and other students can experience it too. And I thought it was incredible too. I mean, I think you named it. The students all it was clear they had development from the beginning, and they're all we know all the kids pretty well because we work with them on a consistent basis, but it's just there's like the perfect group for the first year because they're all so just nice and welcoming to each other, supportive of the group, and I mean, you just couldn't ask for anything more. So
the environment of the group is killer. It is. It's so healthy. If we keep that going as it grows, So anybody that's listening to this, we start in the fall, and there's there's great information on the Michigan Classical Guitar Society website that has audition information. It has dates that the students meet, rehearse, and tentative dates for performances. So it's open to middle school to high school age students that have 3 years or more experience. It's just kind of the rough guideline. But if you're 2 years in, you're an amazing reader, and you've got good tone, and
if you're in question too, there's an audition. There's some audition requirements. Just submit an audition. It's good practice anyway.
Yeah.
And
if you're not sure, reach out, email.
Yeah.
And then we have come and play for us. We're more inclined to have you.
Yeah.
Because we would like to increase in numbers, and we pick pieces specifically for what our students are capable of, and we assign parts and
I think it's kind of interesting, Tony. One of the things I've learned too is and I think you would agree, is that you and I have to maybe have more huddles, and talk about what we're doing individually, because we share the teaching.
Yeah.
So we rotate, and we're pretty close, so we do a good enough job of we worked on this, and I think we have similar approaches. But and I think that's a benefit, because the kids aren't seeing the same face every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they come, it's different, and I think that helps make it less monotonous, more exciting. And I think that would be a good reason to bring Ben in now and then,
Oh
just
man.
even when we don't necessarily need to take the week off or something, but to have Ben there to guest teach or something, so
Oh
that'd
man.
be a great idea.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so many as it grows, and then the budget grows too. We
Yeah.
could bring in clinicians and
Ooh.
things like that. It would be really nice. And so, yeah, I mean, classical guitar is not as popular as violin.
Yeah.
But hopefully, but there are students out there. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something. This is our first year, and I say it was a great success. There are definitely things that we are learning about running this. I mean, we're just starting this from the ground up. We've got no support from anybody other than just me and you.
Yep.
And the parents of the students, and so, yeah, I mean, yeah, better communication about plans and like what we've done in rehearsal is huge. For me, it's just I've got so many things rolling. Like it's so good to have it written down, documented for me, because then I can refer back to that. As I'm getting older, my memory is less and less reliable. As we were talking about what we're talking about today,
No, yeah, and I was just putting that in there as far as like obviously
things to grow and improve.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect, but I think having it being like a rotating cast is good, because I think it gives the students different perspectives and also fresh faces, and kind of not seeing the same person. They'd get sick of me 3 rehearsals in a row probably, but then you come in and you kind of share something new. And so I think that's a really good component. Yeah,
That's one of the huge values of it. I mean, right? There was
you have 2 teachers.
Yes.
Right away. Yeah.
So. Yeah, and that and we approach things. While we have the same foundation, we approach things differently. We value different things at different amounts. So you'll focus on things, and sometimes I mentally know I'm sure Scott's going to work on that. I'm not going to even bother with that. I'm going to talk about this. So I purposefully, don't touch on things. That way there's minimal conflict too with like, oh, Scott wants this and Tony wants, no, like, hey, no, we're just going to do this. Yeah. So like our program is like 25 weeks. We break it down into 3 concerts. And so where there's like the first week is something like the first concert has 9 weeks leading up to it. And then everything after that is 8 weeks leading up to a performance. And so there's not much time, but that's why we've decided to make it cumulative.
It's really cool. I mean, it plays a role that we have it at the university, so the kids get to experience a really nice rehearsal space, and for the majority of the performances, we're in a really nice recital hall, so they get that experience of a backstage warming up, and we usually have a guest performer come from the area and play maybe a small set, and then they share the set, or they headline,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a great way.
It's really cool. It's been fun. Looking forward to next year.
Yeah. So yeah, if anybody listening is interested or has students or children that are that are looking for an additional opportunity, to perform and to play, check us out. We're really inviting, and are really supportive. We want to support the other teachers in the area.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, like whatever you're doing, like we want your student to come and experience this and just make those connections across studios and across the region. So yeah. Thanks for letting us share about that, Ben.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I will say, looking at it mostly from the outside, I was fortunate to join in on a couple of your pieces. Well, 1 piece, 2 movements. It's a very valuable experience to play in a group as someone studying classical guitar. It can be a very isolating instrument. So the opportunity to have an ensemble experience is really great. It, allows you to be around a group. You can get some performance experience that doesn't have the same demanding pressure as a solo. So it's really nice opportunity. I did some ensemble playing in back in grade school, and I found that to be very helpful. So it's definitely a good experience having a community activity like that, for sure.
I think young people need that with music too. And I think that's super exciting for, school band and orchestra when they get to be with their peers.
Yeah, guitar
And
doesn't
do
always
things with
get
them.
that.
Yeah. And we don't get that. So it has an incredible value. Yeah.
Yeah, but yep, of course. So there we go. Couple successful performances with the trio and with the youth ensemble. So thanks again, as always, for anyone who may have been listening. Hope our experience has been helpful, useful, mildly entertaining at sometimes, I hope. But anyways, thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.